There is an interesting phenomenon that is happening where bodybuilders have facial changes.
When you look at this picture of Justin Compton posing with a fan, what difference do you immediately notice between the two? Aside from the obvious,
I notice, first of all, like, who's this guy? Justin Compton? Is that his name? Justin Compton. His face is fucking huge. It's so bloated. It looks like he's got quite a lot of facial fat, but also it looks like he has like really really like developed like master muscles. Like he's these muscles here, right? You can see they're just so like bulbous. They're like huge hunks of meat, whereas with most normal people, right, they're just like a thin sliver of muscle. So it kind of gives them this like bulbous head look.
difference in muscle mass, Justin Compton also has significantly more mass in his face. However, Justin Compton is by no means
Holy shit. Holy shit. So this is what I mean, right? Like this is the same man. Like it doesn't even look like the same human being, right? But like you can see the facial changes are profound, right? This mass that has grown the width of his head, but not in like a good way, not in like a way where you have like a wider mandible and like wider zygomatic bones in the kind of just bulbous bloated look, right? And the crazy thing is he's probably, well, I don't know if he's leaner, but he's at least like the same body fat percentage in these two photos, if not leaner than the left picture. But you can still see that his head kind of has like it looks kind of it looks like he's carrying more fat. It's very weird, isn't it?
is the only bodybuilder to display this moon face phenomenon. Phil Heath, Kai Green, Dorian Yates, Rich Piana, Rolly Wing.
Holy shit. He was kind of a Chad before. This dude here, like, and now it's just like it's just problem city. Let's look at the other ones. Yeah. Holy shit. But like, okay, so I want to like, you know, steel man my case here. Like, look at his facial proportions, right? You can see his cheekbones and his you know, jaw width. It's, you know, his jaw width is slightly less than his cheekbone width, his zygo bones. And now look at his face. You can see his jaw width is wider than his cheekbones, his zygo width. So this kind of creates this ridiculous proportion, which doesn't aid you to being a handsome looking man. You know, you typically want your jaw width to be like 0.9x your your zygo width. So it's kind of like it kind of gives you this like ridiculous comical proportions which don't look good. Like, you know, ask any woman and they'll say the left picture looks better.
Kai Green, Dorian Yates, Rich Piana, Rolly Winkler, the
Jesus.
list goes on. This facial fullness cannot be explained simply by
It makes them look slow. Yeah, it looks like something's gone wrong. Like, you ever see like those photos of people that have issues with like too much growth hormone, like they got like a tumor in their pituitary gland? Yeah, it kind of looks like that. It looks like something has gone wrong.
fat and water retention in the off season, as even at single digit body fat percentages, the moon face phenomenon still persists. With the
That's the craziest thing. That is the craziest thing. If I had like if I had like this level of body fat percentage, I would literally look like a skeleton. Like my skull would just be like a fucking skull. I wouldn't have any moonface stuff going on.
phenomenon still persists. With the usual solution to achieving a chiseled face being to lose body fat, why is it that these shredded bodybuilders have such enlarged faces? And is there anything that can be done to reverse it? The first and most important
Well, a preventative measure. So here's some advice, right? If you're like a bodybuilder and you're an enhanced bodybuilder and you don't want to have you know, diminished facial aesthetics, you or you have to go on Botox. You have to use facial Botox which is going to paralyze the use of your facial muscles. It's going to, you know, it's going to make them less used when you're just day to day grunting and like moving your face and stuff. So it's going to prevent it from getting that kind of hypertrophy to those like before and afters you've seen. It's not a luxury to use Botox, but it's a must. Like if you are an enhanced lifter, you have to. Otherwise, you're going to end up like this guy or that guy.
Important cause is due to the use of human growth hormone. Growth hormone affects almost every tissue in the body, including muscles, bones, and connective tissue. The face contains 42 muscles that control facial expression, chewing, blinking, etc. Hypertrophy
But aesthetics waiting, I don't see it that way. What other way is there to see it? I don't understand.
of these facial muscles, coupled with growth of the facial bones, are the main cause behind the steroid-induced moonface. This phenomenon is demonstrated in patients with a medical condition called acromegaly. Acromegaly is Greek for large extremities. It is caused by a tumor of the pituitary gland in the brain, resulting in the overproduction of endogenous growth hormone. Like these bodybuilders, patients...
Oof. Oof, that's brutal. Look how bulbous the nose got. Look how just like just chunky the facial features became.
with acromegaly display coarse facial features and a large protruding mandible. Fun fact, Jaws from the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me.
He low-key monks. Like, of course he's not a good-looking man, but man, he can pull off the hyper-masculine, scary Frankenstein look pretty well.
At acromegaly. This theory also makes sense, as the prevalence of the moonface phenomenon in bodybuilders coincides with the start of the mass monster era in the late 80s and early 90s, when bodybuilders...
See what I mean about how, like, the master muscle exceeds the zygomatic width? You see that shit? You see that curve? That curve there? That's the master muscle, but way more hypertrophied than you'd otherwise want it to be. All of this is unintentional. It's because of like the use of roids. You're so like sensitive to growing muscle that you kind of grow muscle just from like grunting and like the gym and talking. Literally, this is what has grown as master muscle. He hasn't done some like chewing exercise or biting onto a towel or any of those stuff that you've seen on TikTok. No, this just came from the copious amounts of pharmaceuticals that he's used.
Such as Dorian Yates first started taking growth hormone. The second reason is due to the use of anabolic steroids. Anabolic steroids cause water retention and facial fat deposition. To understand why, it is first important to look at the physiology of steroids. Steroids are a class of hormone that are derived from cholesterol. There are several types of steroids, each of which has a wide variety of functions. From the development of secondary sex characteristics to fluid and electrolyte regulation to regulation of the immune system, muscle, fat, and bone metabolism. As they all have a similar molecular structure, at high enough concentrations, one type of steroid can bind to and stimulate the receptor of a different type of steroid. As such, at high enough concentrations, anabolic steroids can exert a mineralocorticoid effect, resulting in sodium and water retention.
Yeah, I've heard that from people that use roids. I'm not a user myself. I've got various reasons for it, but I've heard this quite often that water retention goes up quite a bit whenever you hop on any pharmaceuticals.
Similarly, they can exert a glucocorticoid effect, resulting in facial fat deposition. This phenomenon is demonstrated in patients with a medical condition called Cushing's syndrome, named after the
Well, another thing is that, if you think about the body fat percentage metric, it kind of loses its point when you get to like a certain level of muscle mass. Like, if you're 100 kilos, right? If you're 100 kilograms, which isn't even that big in the enhanced bodybuilding world, but 100 kilos, right? If you're 15% body fat, you're carrying 15 kilograms of fat. That's more fat than if someone was 75 kilograms and was also 15% body fat. And that fat like gets displaced over like your face, right? Which doesn't get stretched out because of huge muscle bellies like you have, on your like torso, your arms, or your legs. So what ends up happening is, the bigger you are, like the more muscle mass you carry, the less body fat percentage gives you like a real showing of how much total fat you're carrying on your body. So you could literally have like six-pack abs and still have like this moon face, like a normie that has been on a bulk. It's really crazy, but like that's just how the mathematics work.
Surgeon who first described it. Cushing's is caused by an increase in glucocorticoids, the main one being cortisol, which is released in response to psychological stress. Like acromegaly, Cushing's is usually caused by a pituitary gland tumor, resulting in an increase in the production of cortisol. Cushing's syndrome patients classically develop a moon face, buffalo hump, and truncal.
Oh, brutal. What kind of creature is this? Oh my god, what is happening here? Ooh, extra fat around the neck, thinning of hair, easy bruising. This is what the average human's gonna look like in 100 years.
Obesity as a result of steroids' effects on body fat metabolism and distribution. Anabolic steroids with strong estrogenic properties.
What is bro watching? Nobody in chat give him any context.
Such as dianabol and anadrol have been shown to cause the most water retention and facial fat deposition. So is there anything that can be done to reverse the moon face phenomenon?
Jesus. It's also the aging. Another thing that doesn't get appreciated is if your facial muscles grow, it means you're going to tense your expressions up when you talk and like when you just, regularly use your facial muscles to be like way more your expressions just become stronger. You know what I mean? So this actually causes dynamic wrinkles and then static wrinkles to develop, right? So it's kind of like the reverse of Botox. It's the reverse Botox effect, where Botox makes your muscles like weaker, right? Whereas if you're on roids, your muscles hypertrophy and get stronger so that your facial expressions become even more pronounced, way more like to an unnatural level, which, causes wrinkles in itself. So there's like a lot of like compounding factors to why, you might descend your facial aesthetics, after using roids, or at least like a meaningful dose.
Answer is yes. However, to do so involves stopping all anabolic steroids and growth hormone. This has been shown in Dorian Yates, who stopped taking anabolic steroids and growth hormone once he retired from professional bodybuilding, and his face has completely returned to normal. This is due to a natural...
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, you can see like see, I'm not just bullshitting, right? Like, I'm not just armchair philosophizing here. You can see, like, his master muscle is crazy here when he's, obviously on, like, an enhanced bodybuilder dose of roids. You can see how much his master muscle has just inadvertently grown. And now it's like, it's back down. So he looks more like a regular human.
This is due to a natural process called disuse atrophy, otherwise known as the use it or lose it effect. If a muscle is not being sufficiently stimulated, it will naturally waste away. Although this process can be prevented by anabolic steroids, once they are stopped, it is allowed to continue.
Oh, that was a nice video. That was nice, short and sweet. Got to the point. This was very good. ELC, if you enjoyed this content, yeah, go give him a subscribe. That was good. That was good.